Welcome to the Marketing Revolution podcast. This is the underground movement of savage marketers from all over the world. We are not Fortune 500 companies. We are real entrepreneurs with real businesses that have one major thing in mind: to set goals and devour them daily. Because we understand that everyone wants to eat, but only savage marketers are willing to do the hunt. Now let's get this revolution started. Hey, what's up, everybody? John Hiley here with the Marketing Revolution podcast and the Marketing Savage Facebook group, coming to you with another couples episode with your host that be bringing the most.
This is so gay.
Angela motherfucking Hiley.
Oh my God. Stop looking at me like that.
Well, she did. Oh. I think I caught her off guard. We're actually sitting in our kitchen.
You did catch me off
our house because many of you guys know we're getting ready to fly off to Dallas.
Yeah, but when this one is available, we'll be like on our way back home.
We'll be on our way back home. So, the gig is up. We don't do these live. Yep, they're pre-recorded.
Yes, they are.
Our gig is up. Damn it. But we do kind of like do them live because a lot of times when me and her do the Saturday night podcast, we actually go over there on Saturday night, we record it, and then we immediately upload it and leave.
Yes.
I'm going to assume, I don't know how many people are listening to it Saturday night. It seems like we tend to get a big spike in our ratings on Monday and Tuesday, so I'm thinking everybody waits for the shows to accumulate over the weekend and then kind of listens to them in the morning anyway, throughout the week. Mm-hmm. I'm more of a weekday podcast person. You've actually been listening to a lot of podcasts, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
What you been listening to? Huh?
Let's see. I've listened to ours.
Yeah? It's nice. Good. You listen to ours.
The Real Business Owners.
That's with our boy Kale and Trevor.
Yes. Andy Frisilla.
Which is the Real AF podcast.
Ryan Stewman.
Been listening to Ryan Stewman's podcast. Them are real short episodes.
Yeah.
But they're good, adrenaline shots of motivation.
Yeah, his are nice because you can just scroll.
Apparently Drewby's is the same way. I haven't listened to Drewby's podcast yet.
Yeah. Which
I probably should, but I don't really listen. I hate to admit that I don't listen to a lot of other people's podcasts. Very rare.
What happens is if I'm in a certain mood, I will pick a certain
I do too. I get
person and their podcast, and then I'll scroll down, and then I'll find something that I'm needing at that moment in my life.
Yeah. And
then I listen to it. It makes my day a lot better.
Yeah, that's kind of what I do with the Savage Sunday Sermon. I got my book.
Yeah.
The calling of the word for men. And I pick it up and I just land on a page and I'm like, for real, God? This week I landed on suffering, but the funny thing is the very first one that I looked at was, last week I landed on the word suffering.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what a bummer, And I looked over to the left and I think it was something like success. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh shit, well I could probably just talk about success and what it says. Then I'm like, I heard this voice come from above and said, John.
Oh.
I told thy to talk about suffering.
Mm-hmm.
So thy should talk about thy suffering.
Yeah.
And it turned out to be a pretty good podcast. And if I really think about it, we all talk about success and shit like that. Mm-hmm. And then we try to gloss over the hard shit.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Gloss over that pain and suffering we just went through. and truth is, I think more people will relate if you talk about the pain and suffering.
Yeah.
Because that's the shit everybody acts like it doesn't happen to them,
Yeah. Like how when you drink a Bang. Now listen, when you're drinking any other type of liquid, if it's water or pop or coffee or something, that doesn't bother me. But something about you, the way you start slurping on a Bang, it's
It kind of reminds me of when I hear you in there pooping in the morning.
John!
It's just terrible to think about something like that so heinous coming out of your butt.
You don't hear that go on. You're downstairs.
And it makes me visualize it.
I'm upstairs. Shut up.
You know, I actually had a buddy that
Fucker.
You
Fucker.
You guys like that? So actually, I got a buddy. Well, he used to be a friend of mine in high school, and he actually was taking a girl out for prom.
Yeah.
And it happened to be that like he kind of like slipped to the back of the house to the kitchen to get something to drink.
Yeah.
And apparently there was a restroom near there, and she was in the restroom like going to town. Like she had like crazy diarrhea. Like it was
Wasn't this off a movie?
No.
This was off of a movie.
No.
Too.
This was a dude who I knew that I grew up with, and apparently like he was like one of them real handsome dudes, you know.
Yeah.
Like me, I'd consider
pretty
myself.
boy.
I've always been more savage, but he actually
You got a lot of grit to you.
Yeah, he actually looked like a Ken doll.
He was a pretty boy.
Oh yeah, had the granite cut jaw. He was in ROTC program, so occasionally he would wear his get up, you know.
His uniform.
But he was a friend of mine, right?
Yeah.
So he was a friend of mine, and so he listens to. And,
The dogs are going crazy.
Yeah, the dogs are back there fighting each other. Who won? Come on, who won? All right. So anyhow, he's back there in the kitchen and just hears this girl going to town taking a shit. And he's a pretty boy. He's not used to. I mean, somebody like me, it probably wouldn't bother me that much. But him, it did bother him. He actually snuck out the back door and left her on prom night.
That's sad. I think you told me this story, but I think we've seen some type of skit or something in a movie too with this kind of scenario.
I think you're talking about something about Mary.
Yeah.
But that's where he gets his balls caught in
The zipper. Oh.
That's probably
I don't even have them things, and that's just like, oh.
That is probably the most savage scene in any movie. Like if you if you take like all the horror movies,
like I'm a girl and that just makes me cringe. Like that would really have to hurt because that area is like really thin down there, and it's like like it could easily get caught in there.
And you don't reverse the zip.
No. Oh my god.
I mean,
I wonder what would be the proper way, like if that really happened, like what's the proper way of that being taken care of? I mean, obviously, probably when you're at the hospital, they numb you, probably put you to sleep just to be on the safe side.
Oh, I would be like, how like a Credible Hawk rips his shirt off?
You would not be that way.
I would grab my pants and rip them loose like a Credible Hawk.
No, you wouldn't. Mm-mm. That's an extremely sensitive area down there for you guys.
No, I would rip outwards, like relieving the pressure.
No, I don't think so. Okay, let's talk about
my favorite part of the movie
else.
is how when Warren is like he's being taken out in the ambulance.
Yeah.
And Warren, her brother, is following him out, and all the neighbors are watching, and he's yelling he was masturbating.
I thought oh, is that what he was saying?
Yeah, he was saying he was masturbating.
But doesn't he say Frank and Beans too?
Yeah, he was saying Frank and Beans, and he was masturbating.
We haven't watched that movie in forever. That'd be a good movie to watch.
Yeah,
that would.
Yeah.
That would
be. What was that movie? I was talking to Drewby today about that movie that we recently watched with that chick that like she's kind of like chubby.
I Feel Pretty.
I Feel Pretty.
Yes,
oh my gosh.
Amy Schumer in it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I
love that movie.
I was talking about how like even when I was like me and Drewby on the last interview was talking about like how even when I was fat, like I still like looked in the mirror and thought I was really sexy.
I know. You are someone like I don't know many people that have like the confidence that you have. Like for real.
I still remember though when there was a couple times when I was a kid I was shattered. There was one time this girl called me a roly-poly at the swimming pool.
That's okay. I had the nickname Thunder Thighs.
Thunder Thighs. Huh?
But here's the thing though. There is a song by Ludacris. It's called Vitamin D, and he's singing about women, and he talks about how he loves the thick. Wait a minute, what did I say my nickname was?
Thunder Thighs.
Thunder Thighs. Yeah.
We used to have a teacher that we called Bazooka Boobs.
John.
Could you imagine why?
Shut up.
She was like I think she was like our fifth
I
grade
think that
teacher.
had something to do with the. Listen.
Oh, and there was a teacher another fifth grade teacher, whose name was Miss McAllister, and we all gave her the name Miss Cow Molester.
Oh, that's not nice. Now, the one lady that you're talking about with her boobs, it was probably the type of bra that she was wearing.
Yeah.
Like, for some reason, like, way back in the day, they used to make bras that would kind of, like, make you have that figure.
Well, I remember it just looked like two warheads coming after you.
Oh, dear
like somebody
God,
was getting ready to
John,
shoot you with a bazooka out of their boobs.
You're horrid.
Think about all the names we used to give people when we were growing up.
Oh, you're in, like, one, like, feisty mood this evening.
I must be in a feisty mood this evening.
You even came up with an airplane song, too.
Yeah. Since Angela likes to get us to the airport 4 hours early.
That's not true. We get there 2 hours early.
Yeah. Sure. I was talking about that
being a
earlier.
butthole.
Hey.
Stop being a butthole.
Quit being a girl.
I am a girl. I am a female. Dear God.
So,
Go on with your bad self.
that being said, so what is it that you came to me earlier and you're talking about what's your decision? You came to me the other day and said, how much can I spend on my birthday?
Oh, we don't need to talk about this.
No,
that
we
was
do.
a private conversation.
What
That's a
is it?
private
Tell them what you want for your birthday this year.
I don't know. I'm still kind of like.
Let's talk about the options that are on your plate.
The options that are on my plate. A nice handbag.
Made from who?
I want some Gucci.
Some Gucci.
Yeah. I got a pair of Gucci tennis shoes for my 40th birthday, and I love those. But I don't have a Gucci handbag. So, I feel like I need a Gucci handbag. I think that would be good for my 41st birthday. Don't you think so?
Holy shit.
Yeah, I'm worth it. I would say.
I got one that's high maintenance, y'all.
Yeah, well, you got me them beautiful diamond hoop earrings for Christmas. And I mean, now it's my birthday.
Now you see what happens, guys? Go out the limb. I was planning on getting her stain stick and a vacuum cleaner. But I end up getting like a wild hair up my ass.
I would have been happy with that, though, too.
I get a wild hair up my ass and bought her these hoop diamond earrings. Mm-hmm. And now it's like, what are you going to get me for my birthday?
But I'm worth it.
And I just bought you a sweeper last week.
No, that doesn't count. That's
a nice sweeper. I even got it on sale.
That doesn't count.
That's a Shark.
Yeah, that's a very good brand for a sweeper. It is, but that doesn't count. That doesn't count.
Oh, come on.
It'll be something probably Gucci. But see, Kayla, I asked her and see if she knew if there was any like really good hat stores. So there's a really good hat store that we got to go to. They have one in Dallas and they have one in Frisco. Mm-hmm. Remember them hats that I was trying on when we were in Nashville?
Yeah.
Those are the type of hats they have there.
I picked up a pretty nice hat in Nashville. Mm-hmm. It's one of them ones, man. Look, guys, if you ever pick up a cowboy hat and that motherfucker fits perfect.
You buy it.
I mean, perfect.
Yes, you buy the cowboy hat.
If it feels like a fucking dream when you put it on your head, that's your hat.
Do you feel that way when you put your cowboy hat on?
Hell yeah.
Do you?
There have been so many times I wanted to wear that thing, and
well,
you
then
act like
fine. You take it. I'm not going to say anything.
I'm wearing it to Texas.
You
then.
take it. You fine. You take it. Just don't listen
wearing
to me.
it on the airport.
Because I don't want to shit on your parade. Is that the saying? Is that how it goes? Mm-hmm. So you know what? Whenever you want to wear that cowboy hat, you wear it.
That way I can play pretend and be the masked bandit.
There you go.
I can be the masked bandit at the airport.
I'm sure that you will probably get a lot of compliments on that. What the hell is that thing made out of?
Well, you know what I like about
rabbit and beaver, right?
I think so, yeah, rabbit and beaver. Mm-hmm. The thing I like about wearing a cowboy hat is like you don't really got to say hi. All you got to do is grab your hat and tilt it a little bit.
Oh.
And then when you run into somebody, you just say, howdy. Every time I see a sheriff, I always got to say, howdy, sheriff.
I know, you even try to put a little twang to it, too.
Put a little twang to it.
Put a little twang to it when you say howdy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's right.
So we're going to be going down in Texas. We're going to kind of like drive around and look at some property down there.
Yeah, we're going to the promised land.
We're going to the promised land. We're going to be checking out.
That's how I totally feel now when we go to Texas. Who would have ever thought that I would have grown to love Texas? Like, for real.
Well, you guys got to understand
There's
this.
a shitload of traffic. Mm-hmm. I'm really not about that. And it's so fucking hot down there in the summer. But I'm like, I don't know. There's just something magical about Texas. And I just don't know what it is.
Well, the first time we went to Texas.
It feels really good.
The first time we went to Texas, we ended up booking a hotel at this... would have been a what was it? It was a nice hotel. I mean, it was
pretty close to the Dallas.
It was like a Hilton.
Dallas,
I think it was like a Hilton
stadium, football stadium.
Yeah, it was right across from the Dallas football stadium. And as soon as we pull up in this parking lot, across the street, there's a Valero gas station. Mm-hmm. And there's like this fat chick out there. And she's got a skinny boyfriend, and it looks like they're both living out of their car.
Yeah.
And she looks drunker than shit. And she's like halfway got her shirt on and halfway off. And her boyfriend was like, would walk up to her and like poke her like he was joking with her. And she turned around and would go 30 style boxing, swinging at him. Like, and he would just back up and be laughing, and she was like swinging at him like she was ready to beat his ass.
I'm like,
so as soon as we pull in the hotel, like that's the first thing we see. And then we get to the hotel and we're like, okay, this is kind of, it's okay. The rooms are all right. So they're nice, but the hotel's just a little bit ghetto in a way. It just felt ghetto. And then in the middle of the hotel trip, like literally, I'm having an event down there. And we've got their hotel filled up. We probably at least have, from our event alone, 50 rooms that are being rented out of their hotel.
And they accused me of stealing the towels.
Towels. So they came, because what we would do is we would use towels and we would throw them out the door. And I mean, look, y'all, if you're running an event, you're going to be taking a shower in the morning and you're going to be taking a shower at the end of the day. Just the way it is, And they came and they kind of harassed her. I went down there and told them motherfuckers, I'm like, do you understand that I'm the individual that brought all these fucking people to your hotel? Man, like everybody in there knew my name by the time I was done with them.
Yeah.
And the ladies that would do the laundry would walk by me and address me from that point on as Mr. Hiley. And, I'm just like, you know what, man? We may not look like the people that are running this fucking gig, but we are running this motherfucker.
I remember.
Like, I had their managers out there. I had everybody. It was a scene in the middle of the hotel.
One of the housekeepers looked like the Chiquita Banana Lady.
Yeah, she's one of the ones that started calling me Mr. Hiley and shit.
She was one of them that harassed me.
I'm like, y'all really think I'm going to fucking, have an event right here with you guys?
We're going to steal your towels.
And I'm going to steal your towels and fly back home with a fucking suitcase full of towels?
Yeah.
So that was kind of like our first ordeal with Texas. And then at that time, my allergies were like killing me for whatever reason. Like, I didn't even know what was going on. I was just like, I got a cold or something? And because it was this weird kind of allergy, and at that time in Texas, there was kind of like a thin layer of pollen all over everything.
Yeah.
And it was like some sort of pollen that I wasn't used to or something. And it wasn't until later on during the trip that I finally started taking some allergy medicine, and it cleared it right up.
Yeah.
So there was like that combination of shit. And ultimately, where we were at that time, it seemed like from where we were at in the hotel to where we had to drive and everything in between was like a shithole.
Yes.
And so, really, the very first time we went to Texas, we basically got this grand tour of this shithole that we didn't want to go back to.
Yes.
We're like, what the fuck is people talking about Texas being awesome? It was like,
no, that's true.
So. You take a few steps back. We've been traveling out there, been going to some different cities, checking out different places, going to different restaurants, We just found like downtown Addison last time we were there.
That was super
which
cute.
is the coolest little downtown area. Probably a little too liberal for me. Yeah, they got liberals in Texas, even near Dallas. But we ended up the one time we stayed down there with our friends Craig and Lisa, his wife, and they showed us the whole town. They showed us a lot of Fort Worth, which downtown Fort Worth, most people, you wouldn't know this if you didn't go to Texas, but like the stockyards are cool as fuck. But the downtown Fort Worth is actually, in my opinion, it's nicer than downtown Dallas. And they're kind of like right beside each other. I mean, they're 30, 45 minutes away, depending on what side of town you're on. Mm-hmm. And downtown Fort Worth is fucking a really nice downtown. Yeah. And then you got Burliston, which is where Craig lives, and Craig and Lisa live. And they're distributors for some tool products that we have. And we stayed at their house one night, which, I'm a little sketchy. Like Craig pretty much said, he's like, I got to twist your arm, John. You're staying at my house. And finally I broke in. I'm like, okay, man, I've never done this before, but yes, we'll do it. So we stayed there the first night. Man, it was like a fucking Airbnb. Yeah. Like they have their house set up for entertainment. Like it was no issue at all. We went out, we had dinner, we perused the ground. They filled their refrigerator with things that we liked, magically was in their refrigerator. And then up in our room upstairs where they had like this totally fucking beautiful remodeled house. And they even had our own coffee machine in our room. Yeah. They had our own towels. It was nothing like I expected. So I kind of understood when we were done why he wanted us to stay there. Yeah. And it was incredible. The next morning I was able to work out on their property. I was doing 75 hard at the time. Mm-hmm. And they got like about a 7-acre lot right outside of Burliston. Which Burliston has a really cool little downtown. Mm-hmm. And it's just the more that we kept going back to Texas, we would find these little nooks and crannies and things. Mm-hmm. And then we started, I signed up with Apex Executive last year. Mm-hmm. And, a lot of the executives live in Texas. There's a lot of them live there, including Ryan Stewman, and then Drewby had moved there, and then Thomas had recently moved there. So not only is our posse living up in there, but the wifey here gets along with everybody's wives and stuff like that. So, I'm not going to say that we're moving to Texas. Like we do say that now because you never know. You never know what life throws at you. You never know what changes. But I will say that it looks like we're probably going to end up moving to Texas. Yeah. Unless something happens, which I'll tell you what, I can't discount life from changing my plans. I mean, it's changed our plan over and over and over again. And me and the wifey, if it wasn't Texas, I love Nashville. Yeah, I love Nashville, and I fucking love
Franklin.
Well, I love Franklin, Tennessee, which is outside of Nashville. Yeah. And I also love out there in Salt Lake City, Utah.
Yeah, we were out in Utah. Too.
Salt Lake City, Utah is
so beautiful.
It's beautiful, but
dear God, it's gorgeous.
What it lacks, what Salt Lake City, Utah lacks,
they don't have the home.
Is like the hometown downtown feeling.
They don't have that.
You got to drive to some place called Ogden. Although Ogden is very beautiful, it is such a shocker to go from, Ogden is not that far away from Salt Lake City. I mean, it's probably 45 minutes away. Yeah. But our tattoo artist, he just kept going on about how amazing Ogden was. Yeah. And we were telling him about how we like, Salt Lake City, and he's like, dude, go to Ogden. And we're like, okay, and we get there, and we're just like, what the fuck? It looked like they took Springfield, Ohio, and moved it to Utah.
Well, that was nicer than Springfield, but I get the comparison. Yeah. I get the comparison.
I mean, the little downtown, the downtown was cool. The scenery was cool as fuck. Yeah. I mean, you're like standing in downtown Ogden. They got a nice little downtown area. It's a little dirty, but I mean, really, if you compare it to Salt Lake City, it is dirty. Yeah, I get but it's got one hell of a fucking view from the street. Yeah. It's got surrounded by beautiful mountains. Yeah. It's just, I don't know, Salt Lake City. I like to be around where there's opportunity. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure there's some sort of fucking opportunity in Ogden.
But I don't think that's the opportunity you're talking about.
It really felt like a depressive. It felt like, you know how you drive through Gary, Indiana before you get to Chicago?
Yeah.
That's kind of what it felt like.
Yeah.
Not as bad as Gary, Indiana.
No,
right?
no.
But that's what it felt like. But we were driving out of like Chicago into Gary, Indiana.
Yeah.
If you want to compare like Salt Lake
But
City
the thing
to
was,
Ogden.
it was surrounded by beautiful mountains.
Beautiful scenery.
Yeah.
No doubt. And there's nice houses up on the edge, up on the edges of the town.
It just wasn't our vibe.
Yeah,
there.
I guess we're just too uppity. Yeah, we do live in a nice area, man. I'm done with that shit. I'm done with living in fucked up areas. You got to worry about being robbed and fucking people stealing shit out of your car. That's the way it is in where I grew up, my hometown. Mm-hmm. People just leave their fucking doors unlocked if you got to park your car outside, so that way people don't break your shit.
Yeah.
While they're going to root through your car once a week and try to steal shit from you.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to live in a fucking city you got to worry about
you.
with a bunch of thieving motherfuckers.
No, I feel you on that.
And I guarantee you, there's a bunch of thieving motherfuckers up in Ogden.
Possibility.
I can just tell by looking at most of them.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Like, yep, you guys can fucking steal something. I know it. That's not being judgmental. That's being fucking smart.
Yeah, that's just having
I got street
sense.
smarts, yo. I can look
Yeah.
at a motherfucker and tell if he's going to steal something from me.
That's true.
Or at least I got a good chance of banking on who's going to fucking steal some shit from me.
That is true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember that one guy, you had him as a customer, and it was him and his family. I think they came from Seattle.
Yeah.
And they moved down to Cincinnati, and they walked through like one of the really like bad iffy parts.
Yeah, he ended up walking through, it's outside of Over the Rhine, but Over the Rhine's got kind of like some nice areas. It's the weirdest fucking thing. It's like where I would never fucking live.
Yeah.
Like there's like this group of houses in Over the Rhine in Cincinnati that are really fucking nice. I mean, you see Range Rovers and shit like that sitting there. Right behind the motherfuckers are the projects. I remember I used to do work for a dude who lived down there. I would come and fix his Range Rover back in the day. And, it was probably a cool spot. Like, when I first met the guy, he was kind of like single, successful dude. Had a little high vibe, home that was right outside of the city.
Yeah.
But if you in his alley, like, I was a little bit like, it was one of them areas where I'd be watching over my shoulders all the time.
Yeah.
Because from, like, one alley on over was nothing but, like, pure fucking ghetto.
Yeah.
And but later on, we came down there, and he had a kid. So he met a girl. They had a kid together. Still living in the same area. And I just remember him talking about getting the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
Because, his girl, like, bringing the kid in and shit like that. People bums standing there asking for fucking money and shit. Mm-hmm. And he's living in a place. Them places probably sold back then for, I don't know, like $500,000.
Wow.
So you got like a $500,000 property, and they probably, I don't know, they may have cleaned some of the shit up around there since then, because they have done a lot of changes down there. But back in the day when I used to do the mobile dent repair business, I would drive around from place to place, and ended up, I got this like dream client, right? Ended up doing this work for this guy, and he was over on the side of northern Kentucky. Ended up fixing his Porsche. I had no idea who he fucking was. But next thing you know, I just started getting a ton of phone calls from people that were basically saying, hey man, I want you to come fix my car because you fixed such and such car.
Yeah.
Well, later on, I'm talking to a few of these people. I found out that he was the CEO of Kroger's at the time.
Oh, okay.
And I never even met him. Never met him. He just seen what I did with his Porsche and seen that I fixed it and made it like beautiful again, like saved his baby. And this guy started referring me to everybody. So a couple years go by, and hadn't heard from him in a while, and get a phone call, and I go out to a little village called Marymount and show up there, and nice enough lady. They got a beautiful home out in Marymount. It's real expensive over there. And I'm talking to her, and apparently her husband is the new CEO of Kroger's. And I said, well, do you know such and such? She goes, oh, no, we didn't hear from him. We just Googled you.
Yeah.
So the weirdest thing was, like, I'm over here fixing the next CEO that's in line for Kroger's Corporation, which, if you guys don't know, I'm sure there's Kroger's a little bit of everywhere.
But they go by a different. They
go by a different name in some other.
Different states.
It's a huge grocery chain, pretty much, and they're really big around here. But so I find out I'm working on the next CEO of Kroger's Car, and he was drafted, or he came in. He was from Seattle, and they ended up buying some homes up in Marymount, which Marymount in Cincinnati is like the nicest little village fucking community ever. Like,
it's a good place to raise kids.
Yeah, all the kids are wearing like, they got like uniforms for school, and kind of like how the Catholic kids when I grew up had to wear uniforms.
It's private schools.
Well, just their public schools, they had to wear uniforms.
Yeah.
It was like that upscale of a little community, but it's kind of like hipster dipster, probably a little bit liberal. So probably worked really good for these folks from Seattle. And she said that the individual, or her husband, I can't remember his name, walked from Kroger's Corporation in downtown Cincinnati down to, I think, what they call Findlay Market.
Yeah.
And I was like, really? And she's like, yeah. There were some times he felt really uncomfortable. I'm like, yeah, I bet he did. I bet he did. Because I feel uncomfortable fucking driving through them streets. So, it's just a place where I'm not willing to fucking live again.
No.
I don't want to live where people are going to steal shit from me.
Well, you don't go backwards.
Yeah. I mean, I did kind of have a dream in the past of living in downtown Atlanta, in like in a skyscraper.
Yeah, but I love the Atlanta area, but I mean, that downtown area is just like...
It is fucking filled with police.
Yeah.
I mean, for a reason. I mean, there are fucking police everywhere.
We took Jonathan down there. Was that for his 15th birthday? He wanted to go to Atlanta. And there were things that Jonathan has never seen before. And I think it was definitely...
Including like a real deal bum.
Yeah, I think it was an awakening for him.
Yeah.
He kind of got a look at what goes on in this world,
Yeah, so like basically the Atlanta bums put our bums to shame.
In Ohio.
Like an Ohio bum looks like somebody who's just sitting down on his luck or standing on the corner. Atlanta bums, on the other hand, are like screaming crazy shit at the top of their lungs, digging through trash cans in front of you. I mean, they're doing like some real deal bum shit down there. Mm-hmm. And they were just, the Dayton bums didn't have anything on the Atlanta bums.
But the people of Atlanta were so, welcoming and loving. And, I mean, they were
the hospitality's off the hook.
I know. That's what I absolutely loved. I loved it because it's like, occasionally I will go into a store and people will look at me thinking I'm going to jack something because I got a bunch of tattoos on me. But I never felt that whatsoever when we were in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. You go into all, the higher end stores and they're super duper welcoming and stuff like that. You go to a different city and go into some of them stores and they just stick their nose up at you,
Yeah, you got probably you got more compliments than I've ever seen in Atlanta.
I know. And I was just
everywhere we went.
I love all these people.
Everywhere we went, she was getting compliments on her tattoos, really. It was mainly wow, I love your tattoos.
Yeah.
And I got a lot of compliments. But
not like me.
I never get the compliments you do.
Oh, John.
That's okay. One day I'll be famous. One of these days. My goal is to have Tony Robbins compliment me on my tattoos right in front of you.
That's fine with me.
I'll be like, you see that? Right there's the best tattoo compliment you could ever get. Thanks, Tony. And then I'm going to call him Tony the Tiger and slap him on his shoulder.
You're hilarious.
Yeah.
You're a funny man.
Hey, you never know what'll happen.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah. But anyhow, y'all, shit, we're about ready to bounce on out of here.
Yeah.
Fuck this shit. We're out of here. We got to get ready to go to Texas, y'all.
All right, so we're ending it? You normally don't.
We ending this podcast. Fuck y'all. We're out of here. We going to Texas, y'all.
You got like, what's going on? You're like a little, very spicy tonight.
I think I'm ornery. That's be the best way to describe it.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
All right, everybody. Thank you for coming along on the Marketing Revolution podcast.
And remember,
leave us a motherfucking review.
No, it's all about the motherfucking hustle. And leave us a review.
All right, guys. We'll see you on that next one.